Hi, my name is Edwina Marshall, and I am a retired music teacher, and I was years ago Michaela's elementary music teacher. She was such a wonderful student, had such a beautiful voice, and I was just so thrilled to reconnect with her in recent years and find out that she was still singing and pursuing her dream. I'm honored that she asked me to participate in this story from my life as a part of her story share campaign for her song, If I Wanted Your Opinion. I've never really shared this story publicly, but I certainly hope that it will help you in the area of making decisions that are important and for you. The story from my life had to do with how I was raised. We were, my part of the time, there was a single parent in our home, and then my mother got married, and then there were three of us, three children and two adults. And we lived in a nice neighborhood. My stepfather worked, and we had food on the table, clothes in the closet, whatever. And we lived in a quiet neighborhood, and everyone worked very hard to maintain their property. Our activities as a family basically were in two areas: home, school, and church. And on the surface, everything appeared to be very normal. It appeared that we had a very normal life, but sadly, it was anything but. The environment was very difficult, and I never knew it until I went to school and listened to the students and the funny stories they would tell about their family, kind stories, fun stories, loving moments, and words like love and loving mommy and daddy and mommy loving the kids and the fun things that they did. And after listening, I realized that's different from what I live in. And I never said anything, never let anyone know, because I knew that would not end well for me if I did. I suppose I had wisdom beyond my years, but as a kid, I would just kind of laugh with the kids, and when they would ask me about my home life, I'd make up something based on the information that they had said. But let it suffice to say that, I don't need to go into detail. The environment was toxic. It was toxic, and no one knew. And there was no one that I could share that with, but I survived it. And as a young girl growing up, I made a decision that my goal was to get out. My goal was to stay quiet, get out, get a degree, because I wanted a good job that would keep me away from this environment and not get stuck and have to come back. And I felt good about it because I accomplished just that. I finished college, I got married, and I left. Sadly, that didn't solve the problem. The behavior of toxic people can find you. They can create havoc in your life and in your environment. And all sorts of things happen, and again, they happened. Even as a young woman, I looked and I read a book about depression, and I remember reading that there were 20 symptoms, and I had 19 of them. And I thought, this is not good. But my desire was to get away from that toxicity. It continued and it took a tremendous toll on me physically, emotionally, and otherwise. I went to the doctor after several trips, and one day he said to me, "What's going on?" And I shared with him. And it was a relief to me because he got it. He understood it. The first person that understood, I had shared it with a couple people before, they just blew it off. That doesn't happen. But after repeated trips to the doctor and my physical body was reacting, he pulled me aside one day and he said, "You can't control what people do, but you can control how it affects you. You have to cut them off." Now, being raised in the church and being raised, with around the family members, that's just not something you do. You tolerate it, and you have to stay around these people because that just didn't look right, and it just wasn't right according to their opinions. But my doctor told me that if I did not cut them off and cut myself away from the toxicity, that it would take an effect on me and I'd end up having a stroke because that's where my physical body was headed. I made the decision based on what I understood about the situation, what I experienced about the situation, the facts. Now remember, people can have opinions, but they don't always have the facts. And so you have to decide for yourself whether you're going to explain the facts to them. I chose not to. It was just not necessary. But I had to decide to do what was best for me, what was best for my health, what was best for my family. Because if I wasn't healthy as a parent and as a wife, then that would have an effect on where I was in my marriage, in being a mother, and even on the job that I had that I loved. I absolutely loved my job. So I made the decision to cut them off. No calls, no visits, no answering the phones, no children's visits, nothing. I did not bash them. I did not badmouth them. I simply ended the relationship. For me, it was the best decision that I could have made. My health began to improve steadily. I was happier. I was less stressed. The stress left. I was getting better, and I was functioning in an environment free from stress, making a decision to make wonderful memories that I had heard my friends in elementary and middle school and high school talk about. I could create memories. I could create loving memories. I could create fun memories. I could create all sorts of wonderful memories and do wonderful things like I had never done. And I was excited. Now, I was criticized. I was ostracized. I was lectured about, well, you know what the Bible says. And I said, sure, I know what the Bible says, but I also know in my mind what really happened. I'm not upset with that individual. I did not hold anger or bitterness because I understood. I had this uncanny ability just to kind of look and think about, why do people act this way? And I knew that there were some unresolved issues, mental and emotional, that were never addressed, but I could not force them to get them addressed. But I could remove myself from behaviors that had a negative effect on me, regardless of what people were saying. And how terrible is that, to separate yourself? I cut those people off too. Because people have opinions. Opinions are not always based on facts. They may be based on their experiences, but their experiences were not mine. It was the best decision that I ever made. It opened up a whole new world for me. And I'm glad to be able to share this with you, because there are times in your life where you may have to make decisions, and you're going to have to decide, is this one where I need the opinions of others? Or is this one where I follow my gut? And knowing that I'm Everything on the inside of me says, this is the right thing to do. I'm glad I did, and I hope that what I've shared will inspire you. It will help you to consider that if things, when those life situations come up. It has been my pleasure to share this with you. I wish you all, and thank you, Michaela, for asking me and allowing me to share this story. Bye-bye.